personality disorder diagnoses in women is almost always autism to me. These are all just misogynistic examples of ways that we categorize women's behavior differently than men. Because women are primarily diagnosed with BPD, right? What do we call it? Extreme fear of abandonment. What do we call it when it's men being diagnosed primarily with autism? Rejection sensitivity. Interesting contrast there, isn't it? In borderline personality disorder, we go, oh, you have a shifting view of yourself. You don't know who you are, so you become fucking manipulative and you try on other people's personalities, you liar. Yeah. You're so insecure, you morph into other people. You only have relationships with one people at a time, so you can fucking manipulate them one by one, you little sick evil bitch. In autism, we go, oh, you think you're an alien. You think you're from another planet, so every time you're interacting with another human, you're, like, pretending to be, like, human like them so that they don't think you're weird. Yeah, that's normal. That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. That's not manipulative of you to try to just, like, mirror other people. And for you, when you have autism, to have, like, one person that you're close with at a time because you don't have enough social energy to be able to spread it out with other people, and then you get hyperfixated and that person becomes your special interest. Oh, that's interesting. In borderline personality disorder, we also call it you having a special person. Huh. I wonder if that's just a hyperfixation. It's interesting. In borderline personality disorder, you put on these new personalities. First you're a biker chick, and then you're this, and then you're this. It's almost like you're going hyperfixation after hyperfixation, special interest after special interest. In women, we say, oh, you have chronic feelings of emptiness because you have the emotional skill set of a toddler? In men, we go, oh, you feel socially disconnected from your peers and emotionally understimulated? Wow, your brain's probably wired in a different way that makes you smarter than everybody else. In women, we go, oh, that's an extremely violent mood swing. She's hysterical. Pump her full of sedatives. She's already done one round of dialectical behavioral therapy, and there's studies that show that nothing else will ever help her. So she's a write-off. Don't put her in any other program. She's not eligible anymore. She's probably just going to off herself, and it's not even our fault. There's nothing we can do. They're untreatable. That's autism in that guy, though, obviously. Look, the logical side of his brain is so strong that he can't articulate or understand his emotions that well, so he's just having a bit of a meltdown, right? So if you just send them home with the support worker, they'll be able to work on those skills and better integrate into society and be able to have an improved quality of life. I've been in the mental health system treated for borderline traits since I was 15 years old, and it never did anything or helped me. So they were like, yeah, that's proof you have borderline personality disorder because that means you can't be helped. That's what part of being BPD means. And in 3 days, I learned about autism coping skills and pathological demand avoidance coping skills, and I managed to do 15 years of therapy in 3 fucking days. So when you were doing all those studies about the only thing that can help borderline personality disorder is dialectical behavioral therapy, you sure as hell didn't try autism coping skills. I fucking guarantee it. Borderline personality disorder is described as dramatic, erratic, and impulsive. That's the category of cluster B personality types. That's also how we describe what? Women! Dramatic, erratic, and impulsive? That's why we can't be in positions of power. Also, what else does cluster B include? Psycho-fucking-paths that kill people. Interesting that we're all clumped into that. But if you are dramatic, erratic, and impulsive because, say, you have autism, then your brain is just structured in a different way. To you, those things aren't dramatic, impulsive, or erratic at all. They make perfect sense. BPD, it's also described that you overvalue relationships and then you undervalue relationships, right? That's such an autistic thing for someone to do one thing that you say, no, I don't agree with that. You can't do that. Like, that's a moral boundary for me. Your, like, sense of justice that has to do with autism. You can cut somebody off like that. And they're going to be like, oh, that's so BPD of you to just, like, cut people off like that. No, that's also a pretty autistic thing to do. I've been making content about BPD forever. Everyone I fucking know has a BPD diagnosis, okay? Everyone that I end up friends with has a BPD diagnosis. And what are, like, I've sat in so many behavioral groups. I've been in treatment centers with bitches who have BPD. And it's always, she just has poor social skills. She says outrageous, inflammatory things in social situations to get attention from other people because she's so deeply insecure. But if you're autistic and you say things that are socially inappropriate, it's, oh, they just don't view those things as inappropriate. They're just saying things that they think are appropriate to say. They're not deliberately antagonizing attention out of you because they want you to think they're outrageous. Huh. Jessica has black and white thinking. Autism. When Jessica fills out all the BPD forms, she always chooses the farthest, most extreme answer on either side. Extreme things, oh, that's super BPD. Not the fact that I'm a black and white thinker and the answers to me are yes and no because I have autism. I paid $1,300 for a BPD assessment with someone who has a PhD in borderline personality disorder. In my report, he included that people would perceive me as cold and socially pragmatic, meaning like blunt to the fucking point and not sprinkling any niceties in between. That is not a characteristic of borderline personality disorder. That's a characteristic of fucking autism, bro. Reading the whole report now, they're all characteristics of autism. Not the typical presentation that we've been studying in dudes for the last however fucking long. but in high masking women. When you see a young girl screaming her head off and bashing her head into a wall, you're like, oh my God, what a victim. She's having a temper tantrum and trying to make the whole room look at her. When a boy is doing that, you go, that kid has autism. Why is he bashing his head into the wall? He doesn't care if people are watching him. He has autism. Hypersexuality, substance abuse, such an autistic thing. But people have this perception that like autistic people don't fuck, as if I don't use people's bodies as a damn stim toy. And the majority of my life has just been casual interactions. They're like, yeah, Jessica just doesn't want to get that close, with somebody because she's afraid of abandonment. No, it's because I can't. And I've tried really hard. Especially with men. It's easy. It's my easiest social interactions are sleeping with men because it's the same fucking script every single time. I can act as weird as I want. They don't give a fuck. And then I'm annoyed with them. So don't leave me alone. But I get why me saying this would piss some bitches off, because it pissed me the fuck off for the last 2 years. People have been saying this in my comment section, because it took a long time for me to accept my BPD diagnosis. So to have a bunch of people in my comment section questioning it, and being like, you have autism and OCD, I was like, fuck you bitches, don't know shit. I've been in the mental health system for 15 years. You don't know shit about shit. And now I'm like, oh, fuck. Damn, that was really limiting my life. And it was because I had a therapist that was like, I don't think you have BPD. And I was like, bitch, how the fuck do you think I don't have BPD? I'm in the textbook definition. And she's like, do you have a fear of abandonment? And I'm like, well, I was abandoned growing up, so it would only make sense. And like, I don't get close to people apparently because I'm afraid of abandonment. And she's like, well, describe it. And for me, a lot of it is like, if I'm in, like, I get a lot of limerence and I get addicted to someone's body. So, like, I need that oxytocin of that flesh on flesh. So I don't want somebody to leave my house. Don't go! Because I need to suck the energy out of your soul. It's not so much that, like, you're leaving me and I'm, like, gonna be hurt about it. Like, that really doesn't mean much to me at all. But I've just been told, and I thought my whole life that, oh yeah, it's because I don't want to get close to people. That's why I can never feel connected to them. And even when I try to be in relationships with people, I'm like, it's not clicking for me. And she was like, the fear of abandonment is like the fundamental primary part of BPD. So you're not giving BPD to me. And she was a late diagnosed autistic woman. So I was like, So yeah, this is definitely going to piss some fucking people off. Especially having BPD, we have no sense of identity. All we can latch onto is a BPD diagnosis. But I want everybody on Earth to know this now. The same way I want everyone on Earth who fucking saw my IBS videos, because I've had hundreds of millions of views on videos about irritable bowel syndrome, and I want all of them to know you need to get on Nalcrom. So, like, I'm just going to preach to the moon and the sun and the stars that if you have agoraphobia, you probably have a physical disability. If you have BPD, you probably have autism. If you have IBS, you probably have mast cell activation syndrome. Like, that's just my new motto for life. Tell everybody you know.